Ever feel like you're at this crossroads, like one path is science and the other is sales, and you're stuck?
Yeah,
I bet that's how people feel when they think about medical sales.
absolutely.
But luckily, listeners, we have some roll catcher excerpts to guide us, like a compass, right?
hmm
On our deep dive into what medical sales reps really do.
It's interesting. People still picture medical sales reps with like briefcases
Right.
full of brochures, just shaking hands in doctors' offices all day.
Yeah, the old smile and shake.
Exactly. But it's so much more than that. I mean, building those relationships is still key,
Of course.
but the day-to-day, it's way more dynamic.
It makes sense. What I saw in the roll catcher excerpts, it even mentioned data analysis, tracking trends. That's not something you'd expect, right?
Right. You don't think sales and immediately jump to data,
Yeah.
but it's becoming really important. Remember that senior rep profile, the one who found a whole new market?
Oh, yeah, for that cardiology device.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. They're looking at prescription rates, seeing how doctors are using new tech, all of that.
Wow. So instead of buy this, it's, hey, this data shows your patients need this.
Exactly. It's about showing the value, not just making a sales pitch.
So it's a mix of data and personal connections.
Definitely.
But what does their day actually look like? Are they even seeing doctors face to face anymore, or is it all emails and Zoom calls?
It's a good mix, honestly, and it's why those people skills are so important still.
Yeah.
Like the guide said, technology has its place, but you got to be flexible.
Right.
Catching doctors between appointments, maybe during a lunch break,
Makes sense.
presenting a new tool during rounds, or even doing a lunch and learn about a treatment. So yeah, it's really about building that trust.
Becoming a resource, not just a salesperson.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But I have another question. The guide mentioned reps have a specific sales territory. Does that mean they're always driving around?
That's a really good question because territory can be kind of tricky. It really depends on the company and what they're selling. Sometimes, yeah, it's geographic, like you said, especially if they cover a huge area.
Right, I could see that.
Imagine you're responsible for every hospital in a state, but then you get into specialized products and suddenly your territory is all these specialists across the country.
So it's their domain.
Yeah.
Whether it's a state or a group of specialists, that's their area.
Exactly. They're the expert.
It's a big responsibility, for sure. But the role catcher excerpts mention the salary potential, too. And it sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, you can definitely make a good living, but,
There's a but coming.
well, those high rewards, they come with pressure, right? Remember that story in the guide about the junior rep closing that huge deal?
Oh, yeah, with the whole hospital chain.
That's the dream, right?
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of work. And a lot of reps are under pressure to hit those sales goals every quarter.
I bet. And it's not just knowing the science stuff, right? It's budgets, insurance, the whole thing.
You got it. It's a whole other skill set. And then on top of everything else, there's always something new to learn. New treatments, competitors, everything's changing.
Yeah, you practically need a medical degree just to keep up.
It's definitely demanding. RoleCatcher was really big on that whole continuous learning thing. Like that example of the senior rep who had to change their strategy because a competitor launched a similar product, but cheaper.
Oh, I remember that one.
They had to know their stuff backward and forwards. Explain why their product was still the best, handle objections, the whole 9 yards. That doesn't happen overnight.
So you're always learning, always adapting. It makes you wonder, are there specialties within medical sales, or do you have to be good at everything?
That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, I wish the RoleCatcher excerpts had gone more into that.
Me too.
Right? They didn't give specific specializations, but you can tell that as you gain experience, you kind of find your niche. Maybe you love the techie side, like surgical robotics, or maybe you're passionate about oncology or something.
So you find what you're good at and what you like. Makes sense. But no matter what, it seems like medical sales has a pretty clear career ladder, at least from what we saw in RoleCatcher.
Yeah, they laid it all out.
Yeah.
Entry-level, junior rep, all the way up to senior rep.
It's a climb for sure.
But what I liked in those example profiles was it didn't seem like it was just about selling more,
Right.
It was the skills, the whole approach that changed as you moved up.
It's like leveling up, almost like in a video game.
I like that.
Yeah.
So entry level, you're just starting out, still figuring out the controls.
Exactly. Think of it like an apprenticeship. You're shadowing someone more experienced, learning the ropes, literally how to find your way around a hospital, how to talk to different doctors.
Makes sense. You can't sell $1 million machine if you don't know how it works. Exactly. You're absorbing everything, learning the product inside and out, maybe helping out with some smaller sale.
Right, getting those wins. So then junior rep, That's when things get real.
You're on your own, pretty much, building your own client base in your territory. Remember that story with the junior rep who spent weeks researching how a hospital made purchasing decisions?
Oh, yeah, that was smart.
Exactly. It's not just what you sell, it's understanding your customers, their world, budgets, regulations, all of it.
And you're dealing with bigger fish now, right? Not just nurses and staff.
Oh yeah, you're moving up the food chain, department heads, maybe you've even presenting with a surgeon, or even like a whole room of doctors at a conference. That's the big leagues.
High pressure. So how do you go from that to senior rep? The one mentoring others, what's the secret?
RoleCatcher was really clear on this. Two things, networking and never stop learning. Remember the senior rep who got mentored by a CEO?
Yeah, that's a good contact.
Right. And conferences aren't just about new drugs or whatever. It's meeting the movers and shakers, learning from the best.
So it becomes about your reputation, not just sales numbers.
Totally. You're selling yourself, your expertise.
That's got to feel good.
It does, but you can't slow down. Even at that level, the best are still pushing, finding new uses for products, spotting new opportunities.
It's like they're playing a whole different game.
And that's what makes it exciting. It's
Yeah.
always evolving. You're always learning.
So for anyone listening who's intrigued by this world, the science, the sales, the challenge,
This could be it.
this deep dive, thanks to those RoleCatcher excerpts, might be the push they needed.
And hey, who knows? Maybe they'll be the ones sharing their story in a future RoleCatcher profile.
Inspiring the next generation. That's a great place to end it. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I learned a lot. I bet our listeners did too.